Thank you very much. Thank you, folks. Hey, please, I haven't... Thank you. Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that encouragement. Because it's a controversial... Oh, where'd it go? There was a little thing. It was only about this big, right? It was... That said, be more cynical. That's the title of this. And ever since it came out, people have been asking me, do I mean that? They're like, you're kidding. They think I'm sarcastic or ironic or... I'm not. Everybody says we're too cynical. No, we're too stupid. If you think Rosie O'Donnell and Penny Marshall are shopping at Kmart... And I'm not just women, I'm saying. You know, I'm watching the playoffs, basketball. Men, come on, in America are way too invested in sports. They care too much. They care. No, but really, guys, you are not the 10th man. You're a machine for turning beer into piss. That's what you are. So, it's so sad, you know, when the team wins and they go, we won! No, we. You didn't win anything. 10 black guys who would hate you if they knew you won. You know, there's no... You're not going to be kicking it with Latrell Sprewell if the Knicks pull it out. You know, the only people who actually do better when the team wins are the strippers and the hookers in that town. They do good. But, you know, I was watching the beer ads now. I find it disturbing. The ideas put forth in the beer ad, because the old beer ads, the old school beer ads, were stupid enough, but I understood that. The implication was, if you drink this beer, these really great supermodels will want to fuck you. Right? That with the silver bullet you're getting in the eye, because that is what models want. Beer drinkers. That's what... Okay. So that was stupid, but it's really disturbing what goes on now, because the implication is that the beer is better. You know, they can have the women, but they want the beer. Wayne Newton has all the groupies. He wants the beer. He just... There's that guy, you know, he's looking at the beer. That's much more disturbing to me. Al Gore said that, you know, they market candidates the way they do dog food and soap suds. Cutting edge, Al, isn't he always right? Which isn't even true, because you can't lie about dog food, okay? That's our... Yeah. Our elections are screwed up because of money, but money wouldn't matter unless it could buy advertising that convinces us of anything. I don't want you to be as cynical as the people who make campaign ads, just cynical enough to see through that motherfucker. Because until you do, we have this system of open bribery. It's not going to change. You do realize you are represented by soulless cash whores. And whoa, please, when I say that, I mean no disrespect to actual whores. I want that clear. The U.S. government now is like a maitre d' in a fancy snooty restaurant. You know, I don't seem to see a tax loophole. Oh, there it is, sir. Thank you very much. I'll show you right... I mean, how do you think we got George Bush, the sequel? And I'm not saying... He's not, you know, no, he's not any worse than a lot of them, including Gore. It bugs me, the way the Bush family puts the questioning of their integrity completely off limits, as if they're better. They fight as dirty as anybody. They finished off John McCain in the primary season here in New York State, where they're supposed to be smarter, with an attack ad that basically said that McCain was soft on breast cancer. No, I'm not kidding, because McCain voted years ago for against some pork-laden bill that had some breast cancer funding in it. And it worked. That's the sad part. This shit works. This only works if people are watching it going, I didn't know McCain was for breast cancer. I'm going to have to look at that man again. Maybe it was something in Vietnam. You know, they say he was tortured by a tit or something over there. Or something. How could... It's George Bush. I don't like this little prick. I gotta be honest. I know, San Francisco Democrat, but it's not because he's a Republican and I'm a Democrat, because I'm not that either, because we don't have two parties in this country. We have identical cousins played by Patty Duke. What I object to about George Bush is I didn't know who he was a year ago. You know, he was just suddenly sold to us, like Star Wars or Matthew McConaughey. You know, some things just arrive, and it's like, we funded this so much, you're gonna eat it. And it's like, what were his qualifications? Apparently he was drunk until he was 40. At which time, his dad's friends gave him some money to find oil in Texas, which he couldn't. You know, he's the boss's son who comes in and fires you. That's who George Bush is. And he's a dummy. Is no one catching on to this fact? I mean, this is the best guy of the whole Republican Party, you know? He's going to be in charge of nuclear weapons and health care? I mean, this guy thinks Kaiser Permanente is the leader of Germany. Before you go nuts, now Al Gore I also hate. But my prediction is he will win because he's Clinton without a dick, and that's what people want. That's how it is. They want Clinton without the dick part of the equation. Not that Bush has a dick either. They're both dickless wonders. Bore and Gush. That's the... And I tell you something, people would vote for Clinton, but they just won't admit it because of, you know, what he did with his thing. You know, Bush's attack ad in California said, you can challenge me on the issues, but when John McCain compared me to Bill Clinton, that was too low. Oh, you have all the things in the world. 8 years of peace and a roaring economy. The man must be punished. You know, these guys compare each other to cannibals and child molesters. You're pro-breast cancer, but not Bill Clinton. That's too low. Because, you know, what are we going to tell the children about Clinton? You know, it's so beyond anger there with what do we tell the children? Because, you know, we've told them about the Holocaust and the possibility of nuclear annihilation, but Bill Clinton, it's just the maniac with his... You know, I tell you, I would have told the kids the truth. Kids, some very bad men made the president feel guilty about his blowjob. You know, like, by the way, as if this is what you're thinking about when you were 4. Yeah, that's what's on my mind. Sex in the presidency when I was 4. It's like, gee, what kind of pussy Eisenhower's getting now? This obsession we have with kids. Whatever happened to people? You know, the veterans of childhood? Those of us who made it out, don't we count anymore? Must everything be for and about the children, our most precious resource? I promise you, our most precious resource is petroleum. Don't you think we should stop celebrating spawning? People celebrate spawning. It's not a virtue anymore. There's 6 billion people. We're not rebuilding after the flood now. You know, stop celebrating. Every Mother's Day, they give an award to some maniac who shitted out 20 kids or something. She's the mother of, you know, this woman shouldn't get an award. She should have her legs tied together and be heavily sedated. I don't want this woman able to have children. Those plucky McCoys of Iowa, that litter of puppies that woman had, and then they have the nerve to say it's a miracle from God. It's a miracle from Pfizer, okay? This has nothing to do with God. This has only to do with masturbating into a cup and lab coats and turkey basters. The 7 children. They live in a shoe now. And I don't dislike children. I just don't particularly want to be around them a lot. The problem is, neither do their parents. And I'm getting tired of being constantly involuntarily deputized into the fight to keep your kids away from adult pleasures. You know, it takes a village, that's just a saying. Us other villagers are busy, okay? I have other things to do in the village. What happened to telling kids some things are for children and some things are not? I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of nonviolent drug offenders in jail now because that's the front line of defense in keeping drugs out of the hands of children. And it's just not right. It's not fair. How about zero tolerance for injustice? You know, this drug war, we put up with so much shit because of it. I do personally. There's censorship in television. I can't make a joke about taking drugs on my show. We can talk about taking drugs, but we can't make a joke because the kids might be watching. We made it funny. No, then they'd want to run out and they'd do it and they'd take drugs and that could lead to dancing. It's No joking. It's a little Orwellian. You know, I'm always disturbed. You ever see that sign at the airport? They have a sign, no joking. Right? You never saw that by the metal detector? Yeah, because apparently, you know, making a joke that close to where the plane actually could crash. You know, hey, I was in the middle of a fabulous TWA 800 story, and and then when you're leaving the airport, of course, they have that sign, resume joking, which I think is sweet, but I mean, get real. You can't lie to kids about drugs. They know about drugs. You can't say they're just all bad, and they know life is a little more complicated than that. I have never done heroin. I wouldn't recommend heroin, but it hasn't hurt my record collection. You know, I mean, let's be real. None of us would like to, or does, live in a world without drugs. The Partnership for a Drug-Free America. Please make me laugh and gag at the same time with that title. Partnership. They're a lobbying arm for the liquor and prescription drug industry. They don't want a drug-free America. They want an America free of the drugs that are their competition. But, you know, Prozac doesn't want to go up against marijuana. It will lose. Life, you know, things have good and bad sides. Sometimes the same thing. Why can't we understand that with drugs? Dangerous, beneficial at the same time? Yeah. Cars, fire comes to mind. Only with drugs do we base the policy on what the losers do, you know? We don't base automotive policy on, you know, how Gary Busey drives. And yet we base drug policy on Gary Busey. I don't understand that. Why can't we have a consistent Gary Busey policy in America? Also, drug policy is made so anecdotally. We read about the people who OD and screw up. I read about this record executive in New York who jumped out of a window, killed himself because he couldn't find the drugs he needed. Well, you know, folks, there were times I couldn't find the drugs I needed. I didn't quit. Generation X slackers. I didn't throw myself out a window. I called a second dealer and a third dealer, and I called friends. I went to the park. I beat and robbed old ladies. I got the drugs I needed. Drug war. Drug war. How long has this been going on? It's like the 100 Years' War. We don't remember when it started, why it started. I would think they'd be embarrassed by the metaphor of it by now. A war. No war goes on this long. The only reason citizens don't rise up against it is because we know that the government, of all people, is not going to actually stop you from getting the drugs you want. I mean, no one's out there, Billy, this could be our last joint. The government is on the case, and they're practically the untouchables. This may be the last time I see you high. You know, they keep fighting the drug war with different methods. The Reagan-Bush program in the drug war, I love this, was called crop replacement. I'm not kidding. They wanted to make the farmers, the coca farmers in the Andes, stop growing cocaine, the lucrative cocaine crop, and then replace it with, I couldn't make this up, bananas and chrysanthemums, which, I'm not kidding, which, it did not work. Just off the bat, you know, have you ever tried to get a stripper back up to your room with a banana and a chrysanthemum? Because it's slow going, ladies and gentlemen. Kid this. But, no, George Bush Sr., he was a drug fighter. Remember, he called it a scourge. It's a scourge. Yeah, it was a scourge. He went into Panama to get Noriega because he was the big coke dealer. That must have went over well with Junior. Thanks, Dad. Why don't you just cut off the whole supply? Yeah, that little Bush kid's a coke monkey. He used to call it Texas booger sugar down there, you know. And Gore was a huge pothead. That's your choice in this election, a pothead versus a former cokehead. And that's not even what's bad about it. What's bad about it is both of them are too dickless to live up to that and say, okay, we did it. It doesn't hurt you that much. Let's change the way we look at it. And I'll tell you something. If Bush does get to be president, I hope he has some cocaine because he has got a lot of fucking studying to do, this guy. He's going to have to pull a few all-nighters. You know, privacy is so under attack in this country. Doesn't it worry you? It worries me. And this is the last place that they can't get to. Don't tell me how to manage my own head. And please stop assuming that we all agree that longevity and perfect health is always the correct option. No. Sometimes fun costs you. It just does, you know? And that's okay. You're willing to make that purchase. Sammy Davis Jr. was 64 when he died. Give me 64 Sammy years. I'll be happy.
I'd rather have that than 150 Ken Starr years, I'll tell you that.
There was a billboard with Sammy Davis Jr. on it that I saw, and I objected to this a lot. A picture of Sammy was from the anti-tobacco people, and it said, "He took our breath away. Tobacco took his away." Well, no. Tobacco didn't harvest itself and hop on a bus to Las Vegas and shove itself down Sammy's throat. Sammy Davis Jr. was a free man. He made a personal decision. Remember those? He wanted a drug. The tobacco companies were the pusher, and the government is the mafia that wants a cut. That's all. This idea now that the government is suing the tobacco companies, this is a betrayal worthy of Sammy the Bull. I mean, the government has been doing nothing but finger-fucking with the tobacco companies for 75 years, taking their campaign contributions, living off their excess taxes, funding their pork programs with their extortion from protecting the states and the people from the tobacco companies. All these bribes, and they are bribes, because trust me, if ketchup had 1/20th of the carcinogens in a cigarette, they'd rip it off the shelf tomorrow. So the government is full of shit when they tell you that they care about you. They would have you believe that. Yeah, they would have you believe that they tax the things we like, like liquor and cigarettes, because they care about you, and they want to discourage you because they care. And of course, it's government's job to take money away from the bad people and give it to the good people. I know people who think it'd be fine if cigarettes went up to $10 a pack. You know, whatever it takes to discourage, that's good. We're doing good. In fact, there's a bill in the Senate now where you can buy a pack of cigarettes, but the checkout girl, by law, has to slap you hard in the face. And if you buy a carton, you get kicked in the ass because we're helping you. Well, it's practically like that. Have you ever asked anyone in recent years in a group of people if you could have a cigarette? And they look at you like you just asked if you could light farts. You know, like, would you mind if I actually lit my gas on fire during the meeting? Would that be out of line? And, oh, it would. Well, excuse me. I'll go out here with the other fart lighters. It's such a personal thing, quitting. I tried. I finally did, but I mean, it takes the longest time, and, you know, the people around you don't like it. I remember once, it's a very delicate story, but you're nice people. When I was smoking, I remember once I was standing naked by a window. I don't know, I guess I must have been fucking. Yes, I was, because I remember my girlfriend in the bed, she said, "Would you rather stand there and smoke a cigarette or come back to bed and eat my pussy?" And,
There just is no good answer to that.
you know, honey, that is so apples and oranges. You know, yeah, you know, the other way the government pretends to be caring and discouraging is they attack the advertising, the root of the problem. You know, the Marlboro Man had to come down. He was too powerful. That was just... You know, I had never thought about smoking, but that siren call of the man, he's on a horse and he's gay, and, you know, how can you resist the Marlboro? Joe Camel had to go. The Budweiser frogs were too powerful an image to people. Hey, even if you are a kid, if you can't resist a frog, I hope you die, and I want you to die. I mean, let's start thinning the herd now. I am and always have been pro-death. Anyone pro-death? I'm pro-death penalty. I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-assisted suicide. I'm pro-regular suicide. I'm for anything that gets the freeway moving faster. I'll clue you in a secret. Death is not the worst thing that could happen to you. I know we think that. We are the first society ever to think that. It's not worse than dishonor. not worse than losing your freedom. It's not worse than losing a sense of personal responsibility. Do you know that the first payment went out recently to someone who sued the tobacco companies after the warning label appeared on the pack, after she started smoking? But it didn't mention her by name. You see, that was the crux of the case. And government, by taxing these kind of things, they're making decisions for me, which I don't like them to do, about what's important in life. By taxation, the government tells me children and churches are good, and cigarettes and liquor are bad. And of course, I couldn't disagree more. I'll tell you this. I would always rather sit next to a smoker than a child. Not that you ever really have to sit next to a smoker anymore. They've completely gotten rid of that silly, secondhand smoke doesn't exist. Not in restaurants, not in bars. In L.A., you can't smoke at the beach. The beach is an ashtray. I mean, you can't smoke at auto shows. I mean, come on, there's people going around the track at 200 miles an hour in a little car, no protection, and people baking in the sun with no ozone layer, eating hot dogs filled with shit and piss and nitrates and crap. And don't light up a cigarette because we don't want you to hurt your health here. We're so inconsistent about what we let kill you. Smoking must be eradicated. Marijuana, zero tolerance. But there's lots of ways to kill yourself. You know what I think kills you? Stress. And being a workaholic. And never getting laid. And
McDonald's. And staying mad at people. And lying for a living.
And 3 martini lunches. And the all-American breakfast. And whatever the fuck Elvis was doing. That's what kills you. Milk is not a natural unless you're a very small cow. Twinkies are not filled with wholesome goodness any more than George Bush is a reformer with results. You see what I'm saying? Just because they say it, you don't have to believe it. Everyone picks their own poison. Some people like Scotch, some people like Valium, coffee, candy bars, adrenaline. How about that one? I love that drug. The one you have to score by scaring the shit out of yourself. What? That's okay. Bungee jumping, nothing wrong with it. Go ahead, whatever you want. Hey, you want to fly a prop plane in bad weather on a moonless night with little training and a broken leg? Enjoy it, Mr. Kennedy. Hey. Hey, you're a Kennedy. What could happen? Cars, somehow, are always okay. No matter what happens in a car, we don't care. Every Memorial Day, I hear that on the news. We expect 550 traffic deaths, and people go, that's about right. Yeah, 550, that's in the ballpark. But if one soldier dies, can you figure that out? How come soldiers are an intolerable way to die? It's funny, you get to be president, you know that you have an army, you just can't use it in a way that anybody ever gets hurt. Remember in Kosovo, those 3 knuckleheads who got captured? Remember there was 3 guys, they wandered across the border looking for a soda machine or something, and they were in jail in Yugoslavia for a month, and people here were like yellow ribbons. And was it really that bad? One guy had bedhead. They're sharing a disposable razor in there. We've got to get them out, I mean, people, they're soldiers. They're not tourists caught in a bad situation. They're supposed to be in a bad situation. That's why we gave them shiny helmets and guns. When you join the army, you trade away certain rights in exchange for getting to shoot people without getting into trouble for it. It's a good deal. Same thing with the cops, and I defend the police. I like the police, you know what? But I'm tired of hearing this. You don't know what it's like to be a cop. Exactly, I don't. Because I didn't choose that profession. But if I had, I probably would have realized there was some element of danger there. It's like a proctologist coming home the first day. I'm looking at assholes all the time. I don't remember that in medical school. But if there's one place where we should look to for killing guns, I don't understand this. Kids have to be protected from video games and movies and beer and pot and tobacco and Madonna, but never. It's never the guns. It's Bill Clinton and his blowjobs. That's really what the threat, and then it trickles down from there, But the answer is never guns. To the NRA, I'm not kidding. The answer to them is more guns. You know that. They think if we were all packing, better. then you can stop the bad guys. You see, that's if we all... That's it. They think even in the school shootings, you know, if the lunch lady had had a gun and the, librarian, then they could... Because the thing you want mostly when you're thinking of protecting your children is crossfire. That's what you really want to have present in the school system. You know Charlton Heston, and I like Charlton Heston. But he recently was re-elected president of the NRA for the third term, and they made an exception because their charter, their constitution says you can only have 2 terms, but they changed it. Ah, so constitutions can change. Interesting. Because it is called the Second Amendment. The word amendment itself means, we had another thought. We rethought something. Because originally we needed guns here to ward off the bears, Indians, and witches. And, Ben Franklin, in his great genius, could not foresee anything more advanced than the pot-bellied Apache helicopter. So things change, and the NRA has this insane idea that we need guns in our home, all of us, just in case the government gets uppity. We can fight them off. Well, this is good when we both had muskets, but now... We don't. The government has cruise missiles and napalm. And, if Janet Reno wants to come in, she's coming in, okay? The only one with balls in that whole administration, I tell you. If she were a woman, I'd marry her. I love her. That's Now, I'm a libertarian. That means I'm against the government doing almost anything. But citizens having arsenals? No. That is the kind of rough stuff I would like the government to get involved in. Can a citizen have a gun? Yes, a gun. David Koresh? Not a hero, folks. At Waco, he had hundreds of illegally modified machine guns, thousands of hand grenades, 1 million rounds of ammunition. Either he was planning something big or he was getting into rap. I don't know, but... It just seems the debate, they will not give an inch. There are many attempts to pass a law in states just requesting a limit of buying 1 gun a month. And it doesn't pass. People are like, what about Christmas? I mean, 1 gun a month. If you started when you were 18, by the time you were 60, that'd be over 1,000 guns. I don't care how small your penis is, that should be enough guns. I say we get the guns off the street and back into Ike Turner's trunk where they belong, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I kid the gun owners. I don't want to get shot. I fear the gun owners. I fear all the protected classes that we go after, but none more than women, I must say. Because, if you say anything truthful but unflattering about a woman then, or women in general, that's a political statement, and they will play the begrieved minority card faster than you can say Johnny Cochran. Which is ironic because they can say anything about us and we just take it. I mean, look at the words they use about us. Dog, pig, snake, rat, lizard. And we just... Yeah, okay. Just... All right, yeah, that's... But question, anything about a woman or any female icon. I never got so much hate mail as when I talked about Lady Diana, who, I know she was a lovely housewife who did some fine charity work, period. But, the problem is when it gets political, I couldn't help notice that at the end of last year, the end of the millennium, people made lists, magazines and TV shows of like the 100 most influential people. And on one of them, she was 77, ahead of Roosevelt, James Joyce, and Stalin. Now, Stalin killed 20 million people. Good? No. But influential? Yes, I would say influential. For a lot of people, that means something. And it's ironic that she would beat Stalin because feminism is so close to communism. In that the party makes directives and all the citizens must pretend that it makes sense. Sophia Loren is a very sexy woman, yes. Wherever Sophia Loren shows up, she is the sexiest woman here. Yes, she is the sexy woman. I've seen so many celebrities pandering to the notion of Sophia Loren. Oh, if I could have one night with Sophia Loren, you'd eat Ovaltine and go to bed, okay? She's a 68-year-old grandmother of 6, unless you're gonna fuck her with a time machine. Either words have meaning or they don't. Sexy means you want to stick your tongue in someone's mouth. Do you want to stick your tongue in grandma's mouth? I don't think so. You know, People magazine every year puts out their 50 most beautiful issue, right? And they plainly mean physical beauty, because 49 out of the 50 people are just physically beautiful, the usual suspects. And then right in the middle, there's somebody like 100 years old. And to me, this is a safety issue. I'm thinking about kids. There are 13-year-old boys using this to jerk off. And ladies and gentlemen, this poor kid coming around the corner from Pamela Anderson and Selma Hayek. Jessica Tandy, oh my God. It's not fair for the children, ladies and gentlemen. It's the kids that I'm thinking about. Plus, I mean, the reality is men and women are perceived differently with age. That's the way it is. We didn't make it that way. Older men are, for some reason, yes, still more attractive than older women. And it wouldn't be that way if you still didn't want to fuck Sean Connery, so shut up. And then you blame us, you know. Mick Jagger has a Peter Pan complex. Mick Jagger, he can't grow up. Yeah, he can't grow up because hot chicks still fuck him. That's why. Mick Jagger fucks young girls for a reason. He can. Believe me, plumbers his age would do the same thing if they could. Men are only as loyal as their options. I mean, I don't think your husband's such a hero. There's a difference between not cheating and not being able to get laid anywhere else. That hurt, I know that. But it's not me. I'm not the shallow one. The shallow are the people who put Sophia Loren on the cover and say sexy forever. It's shallow to think you should be sexy forever, to want to be sexy forever. You know, there's a reason in this country that before we found a cure for AIDS or cancer, we got a hair-growing pill and a boner pill, okay? Cancer, we'll get to it. Please, I'm working on something here. We'd like to get people hard first, okay? What is the point of keeping them alive if they can't get rock-hard erections? I mean, Viagra is not natural. When you're 75, you're supposed to be thinking about God, because you're going to meet him soon, and not about shagging a bag of bones in the next room. I mean, old ladies can't be liking Viagra. They don't want to get fucked. It's got to hurt. Standing up hurts, for crying out loud. How about following nature? You know, menopause. It's right in the word. Men on pause. What do I tell you? I must be getting angry now. Yeah, but we get blamed for a lot, you know, that we don't deserve. This fixation on youth and thinness. You know, it's something we get blamed for, and we shouldn't. We never asked for it. I remember when Twiggy came on the scene. Who's my age? You remember Twiggy? Really? Okay, well, if you don't know, in the late 60s, when all the wrong women were burning their bras, and I was 12, 13, I was just coming into my own, frequently. And I'm telling you, the girls in Playboy in 1967 were not thin. It was Sophia Loren. She was not thin. Marilyn Monroe, they were all 260, 270. Jane Mansfield, these pie wagons. I mean, you could serve drinks on their ass. But you know, we were fine with that. You know, we never asked for a change. We didn't ask for Twiggies. Twiggy came out. We thought she was a skinny, ugly chick. But, you know, we're men. We were like, if this is what they're giving us to fuck, then I guess that's what we'll be fucking. I mean, we don't want to, but this is what they're giving us now, and I don't like it, but... You know, they made Barbie change her body because they were accusing her of giving unrealistic body images to young girls. And that, of course, is the root of the problem, dolls. Dolls, Marlboro Men, frogs. So they made Barbie, you know, they lessened her bust size and they increased her waist size. And now Barbie is back waiting tables. You know, it's... They should have let her keep that tit job. She had the Malibu beach house and the Corvette. I mean, Barbie was a whore. You knew that, didn't you? I mean, that's what she did. When they say can come separately, that's, I don't know if you... But here's what's bugged me. Women's agenda, your agenda, that's romanticized and lionized. Our agenda.
Bill, only Jesus Christ saves.
Oh, gosh. That guy should probably go before I get to the section about Jesus Christ. That's, I tell you. What I'd really like to do is gag you and sit here and make you hear it. But because I'm Christ-like, I won't. Because I try to. Well, yes, Jesus does say. But God wants us to be horny. I can't help this. You know, only Jesus got that thing. Not Jesus himself, you know, but the people who spoke for him made it about, you know, sex is bad because, you know, nature wants us to be horny and spread seeds. That's why I love rap music. Rap music is the first music to be honest about the male agenda. It's not a lot of bullshit about, you know, I will be with you on a mountaintop. It's back that ass up, you know? It's... You got to admire the honesty. Because pop music had no honesty. For decades, male singers got up there and sang, you know, cherish is the word, and you are my special lady, you're 3 times a lady, you're my everything, you're shining star, my endless love, my special angel. 5 minutes after they're off stage, they're knee-deep in a pile of groupies. So, you know, how much can that really... To all the girls I've loved before, remember that one? They're telling you you're disposable road trash and you're swooning. Women cannot complain anymore about men until they start showing better taste in them. And I know... No, stop. And I know love is like the one place where you say there shouldn't be cynicism, but the truth is you need it there because nothing hurts more than putting your faith in fairy tales. You know, movies. The problem in movies is not violence, it's romance. I'm not kidding. Because what's every movie with the romantic plot? Guy meets a girl, she hates him, but he's gonna get her no matter what. Well, in real life, that's called stalking. You know, and it doesn't work. If somebody hates you right away, they're probably going to hate you, you know. I mean, don't try in real life the old, you know, interrupt the wedding. There's a lot of that. Hi! I'm that crazy kooky guy you had all the adventures with. You really want to marry me? No. Security, you know, it's like, I'm getting married now. This is about money. Bye. Bye, crazy adventure guy, you know. Romantic myths are the most dangerous. There's a song on the... new Ricky Martin album, and he is dreamy. There's a song called I Am Made of You. Then what are you made of? You know, it just... And it reminded me when I was in college, I had this hippie girlfriend once, and she said, you know, when we make love, there's no me and no you. Our bodies are like one continuous being. And I said, okay, but how about paying some attention to our dick? Dick joke, ladies and gentlemen. It's not dead. They said that about the sitcom, too, but let me tell you, it'll live on. But, you know, I am not made of you. I am made of me, and I'm not ashamed of that, and men shouldn't be. You know, sexual prowess, that's what we do. You know, there's no greater feeling a man can ever have than to have a dead woman in your bed. I don't mean literally dead. I just mean fucked into unconsciousness. Just in the last position you had her, she just knocked out. You know, and then you can put her around the house and make all the noise that you want, make eggs, have the TV on, just nothing is going to wake her up. That's, if you actually killed someone, that would be the greatest honor. The police would take me away. No, I confess, I did it right there. I didn't know. I killed her with my dick. Thank you very much. No, she said she couldn't take anymore, but like the other 23 hours of the day, I thought she was full of shit, you know? I'm kidding. All right. Thank you very much. Oh, I can get in the front seat. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you, officer. Tom, is it Tom? Thank you, Tom. You know, I mean, we are sexual, and we're kinky beings. You know, nature is kinky. You're not weird. I should have to make this point in this city. But Nature is not normal. I mean, even in nature, watch the Discovery Channel. You know, there's homosexuality, there's incest, there's divorce. All birds masturbate. You thought that was shit on your car. No. And that is why we do have religion. To make us feel guilty about that. And of all the places, I'm sorry, where we need cynicism, we need it the most with religion. I mean, the Bible, people...
Stop with the Bible.
The Bible, people talk about it like it's a Bible. You know, I mean... Honestly, how does that get you closer to God? If you switch the stories in the Bible with the ones that you had in your fairy tale books as a kid, would you know the difference? If it was religion that Jack went up a beanstalk, and a fairy tale that Jonah lived in a whale, Delilah, Rapunzel, a talking wolf, a talking snake, you know. There's a poison apple in the Garden of Eden, and there's one in Snow White. Does it matter? Who cares? You know, to believe these things. Noah matched 2 of every species. Do you know that there's 800,000 species of insect? So you mean this old man matched up every little tick and mite and got them to fuck on a boat? Is that really... That's going to get you closer to God, to think that? I mean, the Bible, if you read it, looks like it started out as a game of Mad Libs. It does this like... And then God made woman out of a rib. A rib, look at that. You know, I mean, with all due respect, exited sir, I mean, God doesn't write books, okay? He can make a sunset. Why would he want to? You know, this idea that we make God into this semi-human, you know, he's a single parent who writes books and gets pissed, you know, he has a son. What is this, Bonanza? He has a son. I believe in God. I just give him a lot more credit than this. I know that you can't know God. You know, our imaginations and imagining anything other than us is so limited. Everything that's not exactly like us, we make almost like us. Like aliens. Have you noticed? They're never really that alien. They're just like us, but a metal eyebrow. Oh, yeah, they're so different, you know. Pointy ears, a lot of skin conditions, you know. 28th century, dermatology's still a problem, you know. And it's the same with God. We make him so much like us. And the irony there is that in the Bible, they're telling you in the very first story that you can't know him. What's the big sin they do right away? They eat from the tree of knowledge. Get it, knowledge? Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That's what he's saying. You understand God as well as your dogs understand you. I believe that is the correct analogy. And that's why we love to be pet owners, because we are God to them. You know, we leave and they're sad. We come back and the sun has risen again. The life giver has somehow returned to dispense justice and mercy. You know, here's a biscuit. You were good. You were kicked out of the bedroom of Eden for shitting somewhere. And I know because I was raised Catholic. I know, and it's a programming you have to deprogram. It takes a lifetime sometimes. To this day, I cannot have sex on Christmas. There's no rational reason. I just feel Jesus is up there going, just don't fuck on my birthday. Would you? Is that... And Jesus is great. I love you. Is there a better role model? No. It's religion. It's the people who get in between. The bureaucracy. You know? I mean, first of all, you can't talk directly to God. That is bad. You know, you got to go into a priest, and then he tells Jesus, and Mary got in there. It's like the DMV. You know, it's... And it's how people abuse Jesus. Was there ever a greater victim of name dropping than Jesus Christ? Just what goes on at the Grammys must make him cry tears of blood. I mean, musicians, the most inarticulate egomaniacs who make models and athletes look like Salman Rushdie, thanking Jesus. It's not about Jesus, of course. It's about them. Jesus had a part in making them so brilliant and talented. And then they thank their agent and their manager because they did too. You know, when they wear that crucifix as jewelry, the huge platinum and gold and diamonds, I'm sure that's what Jesus had in mind when he was, I hope my death will allow rappers to signal to chicks that they're rich so they can get laid more. And yes, athletes, let me tell you, Jesus doesn't care who wins the game. So stop thanking him, okay? I never heard anybody blame Jesus when they lose. You know, fucking Jesus, I tell you, I had the ball right there. I had it in the numbers, and I that Jesus. The other team outprayed us at halftime. That's what happened. You got to pray harder than the other guy in this league. But, you know, that stuff is just obnoxious. Religion is also dangerous. In Kansas, you probably heard last year, the Board of Education stopped teaching evolution. Apparently, the jury is still out for them on evolution. Actually, it came in 1925 in the Scopes trial, but okay. They thought the money would be better spent warding off the Blair Witch and posting the 10 Commandments in the school as a plan to protect their children, which would be good for 12th century Turkey. After this, we're going to fire the meat inspectors and protect against the E. coli virus by saying grace. Pat Buchanan, running for president, proudly says he does not believe in evolution, and he's not too sure about gravity. He thinks it might be a plot by Jews to get people to drop spare change, so he's... But I'll also tell you this about Jesus. He is not a Republican. I don't know how this party... No. I don't know how this party took over Jesus Christ. What an unholy alliance. Because, you know, back in the day, the Republicans used to be hot for money, not for Jesus. That's what I liked about them. Jesus would not be a Republican. He needs a shave and a haircut, and he's... You know, he hangs out with the poor, he's compassionate, he's got a hooker friend. He's Ted Kennedy, this guy. God the Father, there's a Republican. the I'll drown your ass if you fuck up guy, that's a Republican. But he's a Jew, he'll never get the nomination. But that's what a Republican should be. The problem is Republicans don't act like Republicans anymore. I don't want a compassionate conservative. When I vote for a Republican, I want two things, a prick and a square. Okay? A father figure, if you will, to stop Mommy, the Democrat, from spending all the money. If I want to get laid on a boat, I'll call Gary Hart. But Republicans traditionally provided the motivation America needed, because Republican philosophy is based on the fact that a tiny percentage of fat cats can convince zillions of people who could never be fat cats that they might. How else do you sell trickle-down economics? How else does that sound good? They're practically saying, we're pissing on you. That's trickle. They're saying, we have all the money. If we drop some, that's yours. That would be, whatever we can't get out the door as we're stealing into the night, that would be your portion. Well, how does that sound good unless you, like Reagan, sell the optimism of it? That you will be one of the pissers, not the Democrats, you know, that's not what they're selling. They're going to piss on you, here's an umbrella. You know, that's... Also, didn't the Republicans used to be the party of privacy? When did they become the Taliban, you know? And I know many people will never, ever forgive Bill Clinton for what he did with his thing. I just don't understand that. The outrage, you know, this outrage that he got a blowjob in the Oval Office. The Oval Office where Reagan, they say this, where Reagan wouldn't even take off his coat. He didn't know he had one on. How about that to start the discussion? How about caring more about the brain of the president than the penis? I don't know, crazy idea. I mean, how about some perspective on this? Is Bill Clinton a liar? Of course he's a liar. He's the best liar. That's why we elected him twice. Of course he's a liar. He's the Baryshnikov of bullshit, this guy. But I mean, get a little cynical about politics. I mean, they all lie. It's not if you lie, it's what you lie about. Clinton's predecessor lied about taxes and said Clarence Thomas was the most qualified guy to be on the Supreme Court. I mean, those are lies that are a little more relevant to my life than whether third base counts as sex. You know, Dan Quayle once said, there's growing scientific opinion that global warming may be good for our health. Really? What scientific opinion is this? Professor Irwin Corey and the Shell Answer Man? I mean, there's a lie bought by an oil company. You see, lies are different. Of course Clinton lied, and we were lucky to have a good liar during a witch hunt. When he disputed the word is, I was like, you go, girl. I mean, that set the bar for lies. That broke the record by